Gunships have come to be an integral part of any major conflict since the 1960s, when a humorous name Spooky struck fear into hearts of those opponents anticipating the wrath of the approaching AC-47. But time went on, aircraft was improved, and the AC-47 was replaced by a more modern device, the AC-130, which has since turned into one of the iconic pieces of military aviation. In today's video, we will cover the last of its modifications, the AC-130J, the AC-130, also dubbed as the Angel of Death, is not only a legendary combat aircraft, but also a fully armed and equipped flying fortress, a product of the talented engineers at Lockheed Martin. The concept was based off of LEDC-130 Hercules military transport aircraft. Boeing itself was responsible for the weapons and electronics installed on the craft, one distinct advantage that the AC-130 has over its support aircraft counterpart, the A-10 Warthog, is a pylon swing attack concept flying in a circular pattern over the target area. The gunship is capable of continually firing on its targets. The AC-130 was so effective that for about 60 years it has seen conflicts throughout Asia, South America, Africa, Europe, and the Middle East. In total, more than 70 different versions of this steel beast were created, totaling over 2,500 units, all of which are now utilized by 63 different government entities, whether it was dropping off tanks in hotspots or using the aircraft as a commercial vehicle. It is nevertheless safe to say that the AC-130 has been in all corners of the globe and has seen a wide array of mission sets since it first left the assembly line. Additionally, time and usage proved that the AC-130 was good in both hotter climates and in areas frozen over. In fact, the plane was even fitted with Teflon-coated skis, thus allowing to safely deliver cargo deep into such places as Antarctica or Greenland. Engineers worked tirelessly on variations of the Iron Bird, driven by the efficiency of the AC-130. U.S. Air Force increased its investment in this militarized aerial platform, thus starting a lineage that has gone down through 6 versions: AC-130A, HEW, and J. The latter received the formidable name of Ghost Rider. It's this particular craft that we will cover today. In January of 2013, the fearsome C-130J arrived at the Egan Air Force Base to be further converted into the AC-130J, and a year later the aircraft performed its first test flight. However, the Air Force would have to wait another year until July 2015 to be exact before it would receive its first operational model. The hybrid AC-130J Ghost Rider is a perfect marriage of the MC-13J's flight capabilities and the air-to-ground combat power inherited from the earlier versions of the AC-130. The primary tasks for the AC-130J include direct air support for infantry and convoys, air interception, armed reconnaissance, continuous strike operations, and point air defense. It will also be able to participate in combat search and rescue operations. Some other figures about this stunning aircraft: its overall length is 96.12%, both faster and lighter, all while simultaneously burning 25 to 30% less fuel than earlier AC-130 models in flight. It can push speeds of up to 416 miles per hour, which is significantly higher than its predecessor, the AC-130U, which sat at a speed of approximately 300 miles per hour. The plane also succeeded in setting a maximum flight range of 3,000 mil, twice as far as the distance set by the AC-130U. In regards to efficiency, the AC-130J was aided by 6 blade propellers, which provided it with more thrust. This ultimately increased its carrying capacity. As far as fuel and ammunition, however, the same cannot be said about the armor. The AC-130J has protection for the main crew positions and oxygen reserves, shielding them from being hit by 762mm projectiles at a distance of 100 m. Military experts do point out that the main operator pallet, on the other hand, remains the vulnerable spot of this flying fortress. The more recent models within the Jerry's are set to resolve this issue in an effort to mitigate any compromise on the part of the crew's safety. The AC-130J Ghost Rider is on track to become one of the most heavily armed combat aircrafts in history, armed with 30mm and 105mm cannons, AGM-176A Griffin missiles. It is also capable of carrying Hellfire missiles and GBU-39 small bombs. In more recent years, the U.S. Air Force has been actively discussing the possibility of installing a high-energy laser on the AC-130 130J. This laser would potentially replace the 105mm cannon. In essence, this would be utilized to destroy enemy missiles fired towards the AC-130J. But of course, with proper configuration, it can also be employed in high-precision attacks on objects. Glancing at the sheer amount of weaponry installed on board the Ghost Rider, the former head of the Air Force Special Operations Command, Bradley Hightold, jokingly referred to it as a bomb truck, with guns the first object encountered upon exiting the cockpit of the AC-130J is a 30mm cannon, an automatic weapon capable of firing up to 200 rounds per minute each, which is the size of a Coca-Cola bottle. Flying out from the familiar left side of the aircraft, the availability of 30mm rounds lends significant flexibility to the crew, not only making aiming easier by not having to reorient the entire aircraft, but also by allowing a quick switch to Type 2 ammunition should one need to eliminate multiple threats at once. According to Major Jared Beers, each of these projectiles explodes with the equivalent force of a hand grenade. Located closer to the stern, we find the 105mm cannon. Initially, it had been conceived as a comparable replacement for the one that was installed on the old AC-130U Spooky model. Each one of the shells weighs in at 50 pounds, 32 of them are explosive type, about 2.5 to 3 feet in length. They are not that different from those used by some Army howitzers. The rate of fire is more than 10 rounds per minute, and in total the AC-130J can carry up to 80 rounds. The aircraft moves a gun 49 in with a force of 14,000 pounds, which is more than enough to prematurely incapacitate one of the crew members if he happens to be standing behind it at that moment. Therefore, a protective frame was set up around the cannon for safety, so that no one would end up in the quote-unquote danger zone. Despite its versatility and the durability of the airframe on the AC-130J, the crew is still careful not to simultaneously fire both the 30mm and the 105mm cannons, claiming that this doubles the load. And also the recoil. In addition to the cannons, the aircraft is also armed with 10 AGM-176A Griffin missiles, essentially half-seas Hellfire missiles with laser guiding the fragmentation warhead, and a GPS guiding system to improve the aim. All missiles are housed in a tube 4 foot tall mounted in the tail end of the Ghost Rider. When fired, the rocket is launched from the rear section of the aircraft, at which point it spreads the fins and automatically senses the direction of the wind. Such projectiles are most often reserved for the highest priority targets, ones that demand as accurate of a strike as possible. In comparison with its predecessors, the AC-130J is much more capable of engaging and repelling threats due primarily to its wide array of varied armament. Speaking of the electronics on board, the first thing worth mentioning is the Mission Operator Pallet, aka MOP, which is located right between the 30mm and 5mm cannons. It is thanks to MOP that the crew receives its in-depth information regarding the location of Allied forces, enemy, infantry, and equipment, as well as civilians present. Military personnel control an array of cameras and sensors through the MOP to assist them in detecting, locking in, and firing at targets. Interrupted. Some of the aircraft controls were borrowed from the F-35, which allowed the Air Force to save a bit on the budget while designing and constructing the aircraft. The JS Series cockpit displays a variety of different multifunctional electronic displays, replacing the older analog dials. The latter began to interfere with the pilot's navigators, so the decision was made to replace them. Now crew members will be able to use only those digital tools that they need at a specific moment in time. Navigators who have worked on such older models as the C-130E and H refer to the AC-130J, a real spaceship. They have also stated that due to the comfortable and intuitive control instruments, as well as increased comfort for the cockpits, they will be able to perform their tasks even faster, thus better protecting friendly forces on the ground. Taking into consideration its impressive arsenal and armament, the AC-130J can certainly lay claim to being arguably the most dangerous support aircraft in the world. When ground-based forces find themselves in need of support, they can expect the Ghost Rider and its armament to come to their aid. Tell me, what are your thoughts about the Ghost Rider? Will be able to surpass its predecessor and become the most heavily armed support aircraft? Let us know your opinion in the comments. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you'll always be in the loop on new releases See you all in the next video. Stay tuned.